three. Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no! Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at a battle in the Tirpitz. Now, I have been playing my Tirpitz a whole lot these past few days, mostly because, as we know, German battleships are shortly around the corner, and my Tirpitz captain is, almost maxed out. He has just needs one more skill point, and then I can go ahead and get the 5th captain ability on him, and I cannot wait to start using this captain on the new German battleship. So, very excited for these German battleships to come out. Cannot wait for it to happen. Anyway, we are on hotspot today, and like I say, basically when I'm out getting commander experience now, obviously I don't have the, I think it's a Confederate flag that gives plus 50% commander experience. I'm not flying that flag right now. I just forgot to put it on. This was basically like, I was off doing something last night, and then whatever I was doing finished, come in, play some ships. This was the first game I jumped into. I just wanted to play ships. Wasn't too concerned about flags and whatnot. Anyway, on hotspot. Now, interesting map hotspot is. It's been around for a little while now, actually, but they have made some pretty significant changes to it since we first saw hotspot. I remember hotspot when there were 5 points we had to cap on this map. Yeah, those were interesting days. But this time around, I'm actually going to go and try to do something over here at sea. Generally not something I like to do, but German battleship, at least the Tirpitz, is really actually quite good close in. Not too shabby at all. I've got really good secondary armament on the ship as well. So, if anything does decide to get too close, I definitely rely on those guns. And on top of that, of course, we've got torpedoes. So there's that. If we do look at the team compositions, specifically the destroyers, we do see the enemy has 4 destroyers. And I can guarantee that there will be at least 1 destroyer going for C. On my end, though, I do have 2 destroyers and a cruiser coming along with me for the ride here at sea. So, I figured this was pretty good, especially considering, the cruiser is actually close in. I take a look over and I see another cruiser. It's a Cleveland, so I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably going to go pretty decent. So I am going to go and try to get into sea. The trick I find to this, if you haven't figured it out for yourself when you're in a battleship, is, specific to this point at sea, regardless of what side you spawn on, is you don't want to just rush in there, obviously, right? What you kind of want to do is, circle around, take a look at what's going on and what's popping up. Like, for example, I see the enemy destroyers, so there's 2 enemy destroyers, we see 2 enemy cruisers, and we see an enemy battleship. So I'm just looking for the first player that has given me a broadside. That's not a destroyer. I'm, in a battleship, I'm not going to be aiming for destroyers unless the destroyer is the only thing I can fire at. So I see the hipper giving me a nice broadside, so what the hell, we'll put some put some rounds into that hipper, hopefully do a bit of damage. Yeah, didn't do anything at all. Oh well. Continue straight. I didn't want to go too far onto the east and get the island, or this landmass we see here on the port side. Didn't want to have that in between me and the cap, because then I'm really not going to be able to provide much support for my allies here who are in the sea cap trying to take it. Instead, I'm going to have the landmass in front of me blocking all my shots, so didn't want that to happen. So you can see, I do kind of just hover around the back of C, not really, making too far of a push into it. Not just yet, anyway. So we do still see enemy destroyers, we do still see the battleships and enemy Tirpitz there off in the distance, and we do catch a glimpse of another enemy battleship as well, so, okay. Yeah, there's some heavy ships here. I think it's the Colorado that we have over there. We still have the Cleveland at play. The Admiral Hipper, actually, I believe, is on its way over to the west side, so we might not have to worry about that player for too much longer, so that's good. But there are a lot of enemy ships in and around this sea point. I wasn't willing, obviously, to go in there and help out with the cap. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to support the cap, right, and in turn help with the cap, but I mean actually physically get into the cap point and start capping it as well. It would have been nice, I really did want to, because obviously I want those extra points and whatnot, but it just not in the cards. I would have been way too close in to be able to deal with these destroyers. Because again, my secondary armament is good on the Tirpitz. It's a great secondary armament, but still, it's secondary armament, and you're fighting a destroyer that is small and fast. So, there's a lot of chance there for you to get sunk. So it wasn't willing to take those chances. Anyway, we do still see the enemy battleships are still pushing into the sea zone. Okay, sea is being contested, so we know that there is at least still one enemy destroyer somewhere around here. Catch glimpse of the Cleveland again. Now, I've been trying to kill this Cleveland for a little while now. All of my shots seem to do nothing, which is kind of sad, but oh well. Whatever. We see the enemy destroyer off in the distance. We also see the enemy Tirpitz, and we see some torpedoes on the way for the enemy Tirpitz as well. So this looks pretty decent. Hopefully we'll hit that Tirpitz there with a few torpedoes, take him down, and then we'd only have to worry about one battleship. So we see that the Tirpitz did eat a few of those torpedoes, basically, at least, by the health bar going down so suddenly. Cleveland pops up once again, and I feel really good about this shot. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this time might actually hit him, might actually do some damage. Yeah, a little bit of damage, 3 overpens, whatever. That's something I do definitely find in battleships, right? Like, there's just no, and it's something that people complain about a lot as well, no consistency with your battleship. You could aim at the same place. It's been done. Other people have, put videos up on it before illustrating this as well. Aim at the same place on a ship. Not change anything about your guns, where they're pointed, and the shells will land in 2 different spots in 2 different, those 2 different times. So it is a little frustrating at times because I have some really good battleship games, few and far between, but where every shot is landing, getting citadels, doing a crap ton of damage. Then I have other games like this, where I am dishing out some damage, but it's by no means, the potential of the ship that I'm actually cruising in. The shots RNG just isn't with me here, so yeah, whatever. We do put some shots into the Admiral Hipper. We can see that we're on fire now. I do finally get some decent damage there to the Admiral Hipper, so that's decent as well. Not too bad, and continue my circle in and around the sea point. Now, at this point in time, the enemy has taken the C point. They've also taken the A point, and we hold the B point. So this is good. We at least have 1 point. If we do consult our minimap, we'll notice on the west side of the map, the Allies are actually starting to take the A point, right? So we do not need to take big chances over here at C, not just yet anyway. The enemy Tirpitz is gone. One of my Allied destroyers managed to torpedo that guy and take him out, which is fantastic. I'm taking some shots from the rear, so I know that there's maybe a cruiser or an enemy destroyer over there who's going to try and set me on fire. We have the Colorado here in front of me as well. A little concerned because I was presenting a broadside to the Colorado, and the Colorado does have some decent guns on her, right? She can do some damage here, so want to keep this ship in mind. And now I'm trying to angle myself against the Colorado, but still go in the direction that I want to go in. Essentially, what I'm attempting to do here is get to B. I already know that A is most likely going to be capped, so there's no point in me trying to get all the way over there to A, but if I could get myself to B, this might be a good position to be in. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Now, again, presenting a nice broadside here to the Colorado, but I am getting kind of lucky, right? Those shots came in, didn't do too much damage. I put out some more shots in the Colorado, do a bit more damage. Colorado returns the favor. But again, the angling it's kind of working. I definitely could be angling better than this though. And this is one thing as well we've talked about before, and you see people do, and I'm doing it right now, is I'm angling against the Colorado, all fine and good, but once all my guns reload, I'm then presenting a broadside, trying to get all of my guns firing at the same time, right? That's a little dangerous. I get saved by the fact that Colorado had to go behind that island over there. So now the Colorado's behind the island, don't have to worry about that player firing at me for now. I am going to launch off a salvo here at the Admiral Hipper. Hopefully do a bit of damage. Excuse me, not too bad. About 9,000 damage there on that one. So, decent. Colorado is back out and immediately starts engaging me. You can see those are some pretty decent hits that the Colorado scored on me. Down to about half health. A little below half health now. So once Repair Party is back, we're going to have to start repairing our ship here. And because I shot at the Hipper, I wasn't able to actually get my guns on the Colorado in time. Now I'm going to try not make that mistake this time around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically wait for the Colorado to come out from behind this island we're looking at now, fire point blank with my armor piercing and my torpedoes, and hopefully take down the player. That's the plan, and assuming, of course, that the enemy battleship continues in a straight line. The chances of the enemy battleship actually continuing in a straight line, as we can see by the torpedo indicator on our screen, pretty damn good. So torpedoes are away. We just need to wait for those to hit the enemy Colorado. Once this Colorado comes around the corner, like I say, point blank into the side of his ship. Hopefully those shots are going to go in and do a bunch of damage. That's the hope anyway. About 6,400 damage. Not as much as I was hoping for. Definitely not a Citadel that I was hoping for, but still. Enemy Colorado does set me on fire because... yeah, it does set me on fire. I was about to say, for whatever reason, is firing high explosive at me. It's the secondary armaments, yes. But again, there have been quite a few battleships firing high explosive, which I just beyond me. But anyway, guns are loaded again. We'll put another round into the enemy Colorado. There is the Citadel that I was looking for finally. Going to try to finish off this enemy Colorado here, but you can see I have paid a hefty price. Even though I was a little below half health at this point in time, about a quarter health remaining, so I still did pay for this maneuver here with a bit of hit points. So we're going to try and get ourselves out of this situation. We can see on the minimap that my team has taken A like we suspected. B is still under our control. Thankfully, I'm finally making my way into B and able to defend B. And then over at C, we do still have enemies at C. We have the Colorado, obviously. This enemy Admiral Hipper. There might be a destroyer. There's a destroyer as well. So we do still need to be aware of these players, right, and still be playing fairly cautiously here. Even though I have a bit of health remaining, you know, I don't have a whole lot of health. I definitely don't have the same amount as I started with. So I do need to start doing some hit point conservation here and being aware of what's going on. Now, the main thing at this point in time I want to keep in mind is the Colorado that's going to come around from the island on my port side, right? This is the main thing that I want to be concerned about. So I'm trying to keep my guns aimed over there, and there's the Colorado now. So I did just fire with the bow guns. I'm going to launch off more torpedoes because thankfully those are all ready to go. We're going to line up our guns once again on the enemy Colorado here and hopefully take this guy down once and for all. Shots come in from the enemy Colorado, do a bunch of damage. You can see that my shots go into the enemy Colorado, do a much more damage. Torpedo hits the enemy Colorado and manages to take him down. Fantastic. Now we only have a few enemy ships remaining. So we've got about 5 enemy ships remaining, which isn't too bad. We do still have 5 allied ships going here as well. Where I am pretty damaged, I'm going to try to get myself into C, start capping C, but at the same time, obviously, I want to start putting shots downrange into some of these enemies. So we do see the... some of the enemy ships there off in the distance that are on fairly low health, right? I'm specifically looking down that Admiral Hipper. I've been shooting at this Admiral Hipper for quite some time, basically since the beginning of the game, missing a lot. I landed a few decent shots, but if I could just get one last salvo into this guy, maybe even finish the player off, that would be pretty fantastic. No. It's not the way it's going to work. Of course it's not. Come on, this is World of Warships, for God's sakes. Anyway, start capping C, so this is fantastic. Makes up for the miss on the Admiral Hipper, whatever. We'll just load our guns, turn them back around, and if the Admiral Hipper is still giving a nice broadside, that he is, we'll just put some more shots into this Admiral Hipper, maybe take him down. Maybe not. I mean, he's on fire and some of my allies are shooting him as well, so the Admiral Hipper could go by someone else, but doesn't actually happen. I get the kill. Fantastic. That player's finally gone. So we do still have another enemy cruiser back there. The enemy cruiser is pretty far away, but you know, I'm not going to be turning around and heading to the south. I definitely do want to head over to the west side of the map, but I don't want to get there via the southern route. I'm going to go to the north and then head over to the west side and see how that goes. One of my allies did manage to finish off that enemy cruiser, so that's fantastic. The enemies only have 1 remaining battleship and 1 remaining destroyer, so excellent. We might... well, no, not that we might. We are going to pull this off, and it worked out pretty well. And I was surprised about it as well, mostly because usually when I'm in a battleship and I do end up sticking around C like I have, it usually does go fairly poorly for me. I usually do get picked off by a destroyer who just, you know, sails straight past the cap zone and, you know, tries to snipe out the battleships. With torpedoes that are in the background is usually what happens. That, or I get, you know, overcommitted, get in there real close, and die. That can happen as well. So we see the last enemy battleship off in the distance, just out of my range, so I'm going to have to turn my ship around here, get myself into range. Now, I did get spotted, right? So I know that the enemy destroyer is somewhere in and around here. And there we go, spotted once again. Really want to be careful at this point in time. I really don't want to get torpedoed. And I know that, you know, it's definitely going to happen. At least the enemy destroyer is going to try and torpedo me. But then, you know, suddenly see that the enemy destroyer is actually capping the C point, which is probably the smarter thing for the enemy destroyer to do. I actually figured that the enemy destroyer was just beyond an island and was, trying to ambush me. But no, turns out player was behind me the whole time. So I'm just going to circle my ship around here, try and get back into this sea zone, maybe take out the enemy destroyer. But what I really wanted to do was to contest C so that the enemy doesn't actually cap it. But you can see, I mean, there's no way I'm actually going to get into the cap zone to stop that from happening. Now, on the plus side, I do have an allied destroyer who's making his or her way over to the C cap here as well, which is fantastic. Be able to count on this allied destroyer, so this is good. So we are going to make a turn to the port and get ourselves into the C zone again, once again, because I mean, in the meantime, the enemy battleship did manage to actually capture that A point, so we do want to keep B and C. Even though we have a pretty good lead on points, we could still lose this. And we just saw that, in fact, the enemy battleship over there is now, or sorry, my allied battleship that was over there on the west side is now gone. That enemy battleship took care of that player, so that's a little tragic and unfortunate. So we do need to get in here, take the point, more importantly, make sure we do not get killed. That would suck. So taking a look around, we do know that the enemy destroyer sees us now, obviously, and I'm just trying to figure out where the enemy destroyer is going to be. Obviously, I want my guns to be pointed on the starboard, or sorry, the port side of the ship, because this is the side of the ship I intend to engage the destroyer from. But at the same time, there's a lot of islands here, right? And this is, really, really big reason here, again, as to why you do not want to come into this sea cap zone with your battleship at the beginning of the battle. This far along into it, yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. I just have to worry about the one enemy destroyer, right? Make sure that this player does not torpedo me. To the same token, I have my friendly destroyer here as well. Close quarters, I want to keep this player in mind as well. I'm not saying that the player in that Benson is bad or anything like that. I just want to keep the player in mind, make sure I don't, fall victim to friendly torpedoing. That would suck. Anyway, we do see the enemy destroyer pop up quickly there, and the enemy destroyer is on really low health. Basically, we just have to blow on this player, and that player will sink to the bottom, so that's fantastic, especially considering my friendly destroyer is also on quite low health. So seeing as how I have taken the point, I'm not really, greedy and hungry for kills or anything like that. I'm just going to go ahead and let my friendly destroyer deal with the enemy destroyer. In the meantime, I'm going to engage the enemy Tirpitz. This is the last enemy battleship on the enemy team, of course, and this enemy battleship has had a quite a good game here as well. So I just want to take the player down, make sure that he doesn't take out any more of my allies. We do see my friendly Nagato over there as well, trying to save my friendly Nagato is what I'm trying to do. It's not looking so decent. The Nagato did take a huge hit there from the enemy Tirpitz and is on really, really low health now. So I'm going to try and get in here and do something. Do what I can. In the meantime, my friendly destroyer did manage to take down the last enemy destroyer. So fantastic, and kudos to you. You'll notice there, those shots that just went into the enemy Tirpitz, those were high explosive. And you'll notice that as well. Enemy Tirpitz just shot high explosive. Why is this happening? Why are battleships shooting high explosive? Why am I hearing battleship captains recommend fire high explosive? Is there something that I missed? I don't know. But it seems odd and alien to me. I have no idea why this is happening, but it is. I mean, the thing that I would take out of it is, my armor piercing is, if I get a good hit, I'm going to do a whole crap ton of damage all at once, which to me I value more than doing, in a battleship anyway, speaking from a battleship of course, what I value that instant massive amount of damage instantly more than, say, a few fires with similar amounts of damage over time. So I don't understand what battleship players are doing. Maybe, they figured, oh, I'm going to be engaging a destroyer next, and that's what's happening here. It very well could be, but it has been happening a lot. Now we can see that the enemy Tirpitz has decided to start firing armor piercing at me, which is probably for the best. I'm on fire, but this is from the secondary battery, so no big deal there. I launch off my torpedoes at the enemy Tirpitz. I'm going to try to kill this player before the end of the game. This would be ideal. One turret is reloaded, and my torpedoes are almost in on the enemy Tirpitz now, so it should all be over. There we go, and we win. Fantastic. Pretty close game. Pretty close game. I mean, that enemy Tirpitz, if the player would have taken me out, it definitely would have went a whole lot different, because, you know, then we would have only had the single allied destroyer remaining. So battle over, I walk away with about 530,000 credits, 106,000 damage dealt, which isn't too bad. I managed 3 kills, top of the team overall with about 2,700 base experience. You can see that the Tirpitz I had mentioned, who had also a good game, got himself 4 kills in that game. So congratulations to that. I think it was 4 kills. But anyway, congratulations to that player anyway. You win a prize. We can see how the damage breaks down here. So most damage done was to the enemy battleships. It makes sense. I am in a battleship. 427,000 credits is what I do end up walking away with. And more importantly for me, like I said at the beginning of the battle, I end up walking away with about 10,000 commander experience, which is fantastic. We can see the Tirpitz commander up there. Only needs a 1 more point for that last skill point. Can't wait. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed the video today. I hope you all are, I'm sure you all are excited for the German battleships as I am. Leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.